Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
It reminds me when I'm rapping.
Jeez.
Hey, because
Your raps suck.
whoa.
Testing. Oh, geez, that's loud. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, testing. What I love, like, I turn the camera on and turn the microphones on, and we go.
Yeah.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Let's just ride till the wheels fall off.
Till the wheels fall off. We gon' ride till the wheels fall off. Until the wheels fall off.
Welcome to another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off, hosted by Max Christensen III. People of all colors and lifestyles tell us about the triumphs and failures of their lives, and the one thing outside of family that they will ride with and roll with until the wheels fall off.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off, hosted by yours truly, Max Christensen III. And tonight we have another great guest, okay? Football player, accountant, boyfriend. I don't really know any of your other titles, right? Dylan Hendrickson himself, Screech, one of the sons of St. George, Pineview alum. Welcome onto the podcast tonight, brother. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here. It'll be a ton of fun. Happy to get after it.
Yeah, no, it'll be a good time. It'll be fun. So, like I said, let's just kick it off right now. You're from St. George.
Yep.
Right? Born and raised?
Yep. 23 years. 24 in March.
In March.
Yep.
All right. And how was it for you growing up in St. George? Did you like it? Did you love it? Is that why you chose to stay here? Do you plan on staying here?
I love St. George.
Why?
I think St. George is sweet. You know how we travel for football and we go to all these terrible cities? Every time we leave, it's like, oh my God, I'm so glad I play football in St. George. I loved high school here. It was so much fun, especially the sports. My whole family here, for the most part, is here. I do think, like, in the long run, this will probably be my home. I'll probably be moving for the very first time this March, though. My girlfriend's going to nursing school up north, and I'm done with football, and I have my degree, so it's kind of that time, you know. I don't want to be 4 hours away from.
No, for
my
sure.
little brother's up there, too. So
For sure. Okay.
So
okay.
probably March will be my first time getting out of the hometown.
Yeah, for sure. Getting out of the St. Jeezy.
Yeah,
All right.
it's going to be hard.
No, for sure. I mean, it's going to be cold.
Yeah. Well, my 4 grandparents live here, and that's one of the main reasons I've stuck around so long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I keep telling them, like, I'm gonna have to fly you guys out like twice a month. Just rotate them.
Yeah, for sure. And so you already have your degree, right? What's your degree in?
So I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in accountancy.
Okay. What made you choose accounting? That's a lot of numbers. That's a lot of math. That's
Money.
something that I'm... It's a lot of money.
Yep.
There you go. Okay, you hit it right on the head. Because like I said, that's something I don't think I could make it through because of all the numbers, all that stuff. Do you just love numbers or do you just want to make a ton of money?
I love money. And every time I tell someone I'm an accountant or whatever, it was like, oh my God, you must be so good at math. Like, how do you do it? I'm like, bro, like, there's not a lot of math in accounting. It's way more like understanding what the numbers mean and understanding where the stuff goes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The reason I chose accounting, I came into college just being like, okay, I know I like business. I know I want to work for myself. I know I like money. So I went into business. Like my degree was business. And then I had a mentor actually tell me, like, dude, worthless degree. Like, you need to change it. He actually said that I'd be better off getting all C's in an accounting degree than getting all A's in a business management degree.
Wow.
And so I got all C's and got my accounting degree. But it's been awesome. One of the main reasons why, and you can take this kind of with any degree, right? Is like in the real world, like if I have a business, there's a million books out there that could teach me how to manage my business better.
Yeah.
I can teach that to myself, right? It'd be pretty hard to just pick up a book and teach yourself accounting or finance.
For sure.
So that's kind of what I tell the young kids on our team sometimes if I like them. I'm like, bro, just pick something hard that's valuable and worth it, especially if you're paying out of pocket for it. You know, you want to make sure it's worth it. And you know, I can read financial statements in my own business. Like, it's super applicable forever. Even if I'm not being an accountant necessarily.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you have your own accounting firm, right? Is that your own accounting firm, your own accounting business?
Yes.
Right? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Sledge Accounting. So I started that November 2021. One of my best friends, good buddy here, Ryan McGinnis, shout out, Pristine Landscaping, St. George Lighting. he's awesome. He has 2 businesses and he needed some accounting, and I was like, okay, I know how to do this. And so I opened up my LLC and all my stuff, and basically it's all-in-one accounting service on a monthly subscription. So anything accounting, we just freaking handle it. Bookkeeping, payroll, consulting, tax prep, tax planning, advising, financial statements, all the good stuff.
Yeah. Huh. I might need to call you later
I hope
in
so.
life to kind of set me up on the road to success.
Yeah, it's been fun. Lots of learning for sure.
Yeah.
It was pretty small at first, just because I was still in my master's degree. But right now it's starting to ramp up a little bit.
Good.
So
Good.
I have 3 calls tomorrow.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. There you go.
It's fun. It's
good.
been fun.
And is it just you at your firm right now, or do you have employees?
It's just me. How I do it, so locally here in St. George, there's the tax company, which is like Jamie Mitchell. She's awesome. She's been doing tax for like 25, 30 years. So I do everything except at the actual tax return. So I outsource the tax return to her. But since I'm doing the bookkeeping and I'm involved in the business the whole time, it's super seamless. Like I just basically pass the information along to her, and then she just files it. So that's how we've been doing that, and it's worked pretty awesome.
Cool.
It kind of mitigates the, oh, you're only a 23-year-old accountant and you don't have your CPA. Why should I trust you? It's like,
Yes.
oh, well, I have this person helping me with the consulting and the tax
Yeah.
returns. It's a freaking beast.
Yeah,
So,
100%. There you go. You got a lot of stuff going for you, at least in the business world, right? You've set yourself up really well to transition from the college athlete life into the life of a civilian, if you will, right? Into a regular person. It's unavoidable that we can't jump around the fact that we're both teammates here at Utah Tech University, right? I play defensive tackle, you play defensive end, right? We sometimes line up right next to each other, right? So let's talk a little bit about football. Okay, this isn't a podcast about sports, so we're not going to ramble on, right? You're a Pineview Panther alum.
Yep.
You graduated in 2017.
Yep.
You played corner
Yep.
in high school. How tall are you?
6'5", 6'6".
6'5", 6'6". How much did you weigh in high school?
My senior year, 190,
190.
185, 190,
Yeah.
195, something
Yeah.
like that.
And then you choose to stay home, stay local, come to Dixie State University.
Yep.
Now here in 2022, we're Utah Tech University.
Yeah, love
right?
it.
And now you play defensive end, right? How much do you weigh now?
235. The most I ever weighed this summer, I was like 242 for a second there.
Yeah, for sure. So talk to us about your football journey quickly. Like give us a quick synopsis, right? What was it like going from corner to defensive line, having to gain all that weight, having to wait until college to learn a whole new position, to jump from the back end of a defense up to the very front line with all the big boys, smashing heads 24/7, right? So what was that transition kind of like for you?
Yeah, so I stayed home so my family could come to my games, my grandparents, my siblings.
Smart.
Dad, mom, And I came in as a nickel, actually. So I came in as like that slot, we call it a star, that hybrid backer. And I was still in like 190, 200, and I was a scout team guy. Like, I can look back like I was like a bottom 10 kid on the team. Like, I fucking sucked.
Yeah.
And most of it was going from corner where I was a finesse football player. I played corner and receiver. I liked to run around, catch the ball. And I wasn't playing to take people's heads off at the time. I was a basketball kid, So coming to college where it's grown men with kids and mortgages playing football.
Yes.
It's different. And being in the box is different. So I really struggled my first 2 years. It was really, really hard my first 2 years. So that first year I played nickel, and then for a year after that I played will linebacker. And then in 2019 I went to D-line. But those first 2 years were incredibly difficult. I thought about leaving to go play basketball like on the weekly.
Yeah.
It really, really tested me. But in 2019 I go to D-line. I kind of have a breakout year. We were still D2. Breakout year start pretty much that whole year. Going into 2020, preseason All-American, and then we have that spring season and whatnot. Lose my train of thought a little bit. But what I loved about the whole thing is I didn't come in and start right away and was the guy right away.
Yeah,
Like,
you
it
had to
was
develop.
my whole life growing up. Basketball, football, I was just the guy.
Yeah.
And so I get here and it's like, this is freaking hard, right? And it was hard going from corner to coming into the box and coming to D-line and having to freaking hit people, especially when you're severely undersized. I mean, even that 2019 year where I was starting, I was playing defensive end at 220 pounds, 215 pounds.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that football taught me and gave me is the delayed gratification thing. Like, everything is so accessible to people our age. Like, when we want to see something, like, we look it up, we know it. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's just there. Like, we just get what we want fast, right? And so the delayed gratification, a lot of people our age just don't have that skill, like, whatsoever. So the fact that it took me 5 years to be a good football player, 6 years to, develop into that football player that I wanted to be, and to not just quit when things got hard, I have a very strong belief that that'll take me a long ways post-football career.
Yeah, like learning how to grind, learning how to develop, learning how to, change things on the fly, right? And being able to be put into a new position, trying to find success at doing what you do.
Yep.
Right.
And I had 3 different positions in my first 3 years, and I've had 5 defensive coordinators in my 6 years playing college football. And I put that in my cover letter. I'm like, highly adaptable. You know, can learn on the fly.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, just the idea that it's not always going to go your way, especially right in the beginning. Even in business, like, I know I'm going to have my scout team year in business, like, where you just got to freaking learn and put your head down. And but I loved it, and it's just crazy, like, going from being like a D2 scout team guy, like, not good enough to even take a defensive rep. Even my second year, I didn't take one defensive rep. Yeah. To like starting and playing a decent amount in these Division I games against the top 5 teams in the country.
For sure, 100%.
So yeah, delayed gratification, man. Put your head down, go to work. Freaking, it'll work out for you.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Learning how to grind, like, because it takes, that's a skill set.
Yeah.
Right. You have to learn how to grind through the hard times, learn from the hard times, so that when the good times arrive, you can appreciate them even more.
Yeah, and
right.
Not just transfer out when it gets hard.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a big thing nowadays, especially in high school. I mean, I get it in college. There's some crazy coaches, and there's maybe want to get back to family, but people transferring around in high school, that's crazy to me,
Yeah.
Like, just freaking, there's so much to learn from basketball and football. Those are my sports I played. So much to learn from them that, and not even related to you playing on the court or the field, right? Like, so many of the biggest lessons don't come in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Right? So I think people do themselves a disservice when they cop themselves out a little bit.
That's a great segue, Screech, right? Tell us, what is the biggest thing that you've learned that you've taken away from playing football, specifically college football, that you will take and carry with you throughout the rest of your life?
So 2019, like I said, I started the whole year, basically, right? I had 10 sacks, broke a bunch of records, and that's not to brag, but, it was fucking awesome. Like, riding that high, right? And then our spring season, I start a half of the games, doesn't quite go. I missed like 5 or 6 sacks in 5 games, like, just fall off them, just doesn't go our way, right? And then we come into that 2021 year, and I start the first 2 games. We barely lose to Sac State. We get blown out by Weber in the second half. And I didn't play super great, especially in that Weber game, and I get benched, right? And I go from first string defensive end stud to third string on the D-line, like, just straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just straight, go clear down the depth chart. And for all of my life, and this is something I've worked on the last 2 years, like, I've identified myself as an athlete. Like, I'm a football player, and I know you feel the same way.
I think most of us who play college sports
for sure
feel that way too.
Yeah, and that's all we know for the most part. And so it was really, really hard until that 2021 season. We went 1-10.
1-10.
To not equate my self-worth to my athletic performance, right? Like, I started those 2 games, 60 snaps over those 2 games, and literally don't play the rest of the year, basically. I think the most snaps I had in a game after that was like 22. And I was talking to my buddy, and he's like, he actually played with me at Pine View, slot receiver. He actually came here for a semester and played football. Decided it wasn't for him. And he's super in touch with, like, spiritual side and like, just that whole side of things, right? Spends a lot of time studying it. And I texted him one time and was like, bro, like, I'm struggling with this. Like, this is hard. Like, hitting the ego hard, right? And the beauty of the sport, and I know I'm taking a long time to talk about this, but what I've taken away from it, right? And besides the delayed gratification, that's one thing. The other thing I would say that I took from it is there's so many emotions that you feel when you play football. Like I said, I've had the lowest lows, literally, like, bottom kid on the team. Like, coaches are like, why the fuck is this guy here? Type of kid. Literally. Like, literally had a coach say, like, if it was up to me, like, you would never play, like, ever in 4 years. And I've had that high preseason All-American breaks, single season, single game sack record. I've had those, I've been at the top and I've been at the bottom.
Yeah.
And those emotions that you feel, the emotions that you feel throughout your life never change, right? Anger, happiness, sadness, excitement. Those never change. It's just the event that triggers them maybe is different, right? So the event has been football, right? And when I've had those low lows and I'm feeling those emotions, I'm getting the opportunity to navigate those emotions and how I'm feeling in a setting that in the grand scheme of things isn't very serious or life-threatening or like my family's not depending. That kind of makes sense? So I've had, over the 6 years, I've experienced so many of these emotions that I know I'm going to face again later on in life when things get hard in a different realm outside of football. But when it happens, it won't be my first time encountering those feelings, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I understand that.
Kind of long-winded to get that out.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Sometimes it takes a second. That's okay. So Dylan, which I've never called you Dylan before, Screech, right? I just realized we have yet to tell the people, which I should open the show with this. Why do people call you Screech, right? Where did that nickname come from? Give us a quick synopsis on that.
Yeah, so 8th grade playing football and basketball, one of the coaches is like, hey, you look like Screech. You're Screech from Saved by the Bell. So it's a TV show from the 90s where this Dustin Diamond is the actor's name. He recently passed away. When I was younger, I used to not cut my hair, so I had a big old afro, and I just looked like literally exactly like this guy on the show.
Yeah.
Like literally exactly like him. So it was kind of a sports nickname for like a year or two, and then by my sophomore year of high school, like my name was Screech.
It stuck.
And my name is Screech. Like my grandparents call me Screech.
Wow.
Even. So yeah, that's just been my name forever.
No.
It's been on my license plate since I was 16.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's just my name.
There you go. Mine's just Max. So
Maximus.
Yes, the gladiator, right?
yeah.
What we do in life echoes in the eternities. All right. You have a story. Okay? You have had some very tumultuous life experiences, right? Some trials, tribulations, just like every other person who sat in that chair so far on till the wheels fall off. Okay?
Certainly.
So let's get into the meat of the podcast.
Sure.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to us about your upbringing, right? You were raised by your grandparents, right? Was it on your dad's side or your mom's side?
I stayed with both of them, but for the bulk of it was my mom's side.
Okay.
Yeah, but both sets of grandparents live in St. George. So
Yes.
growing up, like I would live with my mom's parents most of the time, but like weekends I would go hang out with my dad's parents and
Yes.
spend like weekends and sometimes weeks with them too.
Yeah. And that, that wasn't because, your parents passed away, thank goodness, right? They're still around. They're still here with us. But they had their set of struggles.
Definitely.
Right? Which trickled down to you and your siblings, right? That affected all of you guys.
Certainly.
Right? So talk to us first about your dad and his situation. You can go as deep or superficial as you want, right? But tell us a little bit what it was like to be raised by your grandparents and why that was the case. So first start, why was that the case? You were raised by your grandparents.
Yeah, so before I was even a year old, both my parents got arrested. And they've kind of, for the most part, had that struggle my whole existence, my whole lifetime, right? My dad recently has been doing awesome. Actually, he had some health stuff going on 5 or 6 years ago, and he's like straight clean. He's been doing awesome ever since. My relationship with my dad is very unique. I'm not even sure we've ever like said I love you face to face, maybe a couple hugs in a lifetime, but it's one of those things where it's like I know he freaking loves me. And I love him too. And I don't know if you listen to Ed Milet's podcast at all ever.
No, I don't.
Well, maybe some of your listeners do, but he always talks about like his dad was a drunk and beat him all the time, and it was one of those things where later in life, like his dad was like his best friend and looked up to him the most. And I have a really strong feeling that that's how it'll be with me and my dad. He wasn't there a whole ton when I was younger, and that's something I know he feels sorry for and bad about. But he comes to all my football games, and I know he's very proud of me, and I love him. And I know he loves me. The relationship is just unique, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel super father-son all the time. It feels like it's just mutual respect, like we see each other, and it's cool. But I have a feeling that as we grow older, that relationship will strengthen. Like I feel like the best of our days are ahead, me and him. And my mom, same type of thing, just struggled with addiction just throughout her life. And it's both of them. It's such a case of like awesome person, both of them are so awesome. Like, I seriously love them both so much.
Just got caught up in
just
bad situations.
choices, man. Just bad choices, right? Like my mom was starting varsity soccer as a freshman up in Ogden.
Wow.
Blows her knee out and gets surgery, and from there it's like, fuck it, basically. Just make some bad choices, right? And so she moves down here, and that's where she met my dad. And then my mom turned 18 in February and gave birth to me in March.
Wow.
So I was born in 99. And like I said, they both ended up going to jail within that first year. And that's when I was living with my grandparents, right? And my two parents, they've had their struggles. Like I said, I don't resent them or hate them at all. Like, they're awesome people, and they're only getting better. But I was blessed with four of, like, the most amazing people for grandparents. Seriously, like, just rock star human beings. And the relationship with them is like father-son, mother-son. So yeah, my grandma got custody or guardianship of me, I think, and I pretty much lived with them for freaking my whole time. For the most part, there was stints where my mom would get out and I would try living with my mom, and that didn't go very well, you know?
Yeah.
And I have 4 siblings, but I'm the oldest by 8 years.
Wow.
So I have 2 sisters that were born right next, just like 14 months apart from each other, right?
Yeah. So what are the ages of your siblings right now?
Yeah, so my oldest just turned 16 in August, and the other one just turned 15 in September. And then my youngest sister, she's 12 or 13, somewhere in that.
Yeah.
She's 12, 13, preteen. And she's actually adopted.
Okay.
And she lives in Vail. And then I have a little brother who just turned 2 this past July.
Just turned 2.
Just turned 2.
And you're 23 going on 24.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's
Yeah.
a lot of times, like, it feels more like father-son. And that's kind of how it feels with all my siblings. You know, because there was times, like, I don't know, you want to talk about, like, the hard stuff, like, some of the hardest parts of my life that's when I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm 10 years old, right? And the 2 sisters that are the 2 oldest sisters, they have the same dad, but it's not my dad. And he also struggles with addiction. And he's doing better now also. He's done a lot of work to get better. Love that guy. He's awesome. He's always like, fuck yeah, go Utah Tech. You guys like Facebook messaging me like, hell yeah, you guys are awesome. I'm
awesome.
Like, he's awesome. And so there was moments where it's like my mom, me, and my 2 sisters, and they're like a year old, newborn, 2 years, a year old. And my mom's struggling, right? And like looking back on it, like, it didn't feel like anything was crazy because that was just my life, right? And now that I'm older, I look back and I'm like, yo, like, that was some crazy shit. Like, I was raising my sisters. Like, I was dad in the household.
At 10 years old.
10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
100%. Maybe younger, maybe even like 9.
Yeah.
Like, changing diapers, making their bottles and formula, putting them to bed. Like,
Wow.
Like, literally raising
Wow.
these kids because I had to. Like, they're my siblings, you know?
Yeah.
And I've always grown up fast. Like, because even when I was there, like, young, like, toddler, you know, kindergarten, first grade, like, I'm going to the purgatory, to the jail to visit my parents. You know, like, it's just, you know what I mean?
It's just part of your life.
There's no way to not grow up a little quick.
Yeah.
When you're going through that young age. And so, yeah, there's moments where I'm, like, straight raising these kids. And it's kind of hard sometimes because, like, we haven't lived together since I was a 7th grader with any of them. And they were so young, like, I feel like their dad in a sense, but they were so young, like, they don't remember, like, me, like, being in the trenches taking care of them, like,
yes.
You know. And my mom, when she's making bad decisions, she can be very, like, because I have my 4 grandparents in town, right? They're not, like, ignoring and neglecting us. From their perspective, everything's cool, right? And from my perspective, I don't really know much better. Like, I'm just holding it down because that's just what big bro does.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah. And, you know, 6th, 7th grade, that was another hard time. And sixth grade was the best my mom's done in a long time. She graduated drug court, was doing a bunch of awesome stuff, had a good job. We had a house. It was me and my 2 sisters. Maybe the third one was barely born. Memory gets foggy, you know. But dude, that was tough too, because then in 7th grade it went bad a little bit, and we're like, there's nothing to eat, bro. Like, straight up. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, I would get the big bag of sugar and I'd pour the sugar down my throat and just eat sugar.
Really?
And I remember times like, there's no bread, but there's Eggos, but there's no syrup. So I'm toasting the Eggos and peanut butter and jelly on the Eggos to make my sandwiches. Like, I'm cooking dinner for my siblings. I just make eggs. That's all I know how to make. To this day, my girlfriend tell you I'm not the best cook, but I can make some eggs.
Yeah.
So I would make the eggs, and you know, we would eat, and you know, at that point, I was raising them too for that year or two, and it was tough. And then, you know, that all happened. I ended up after that, I moved in with my grandpa Bob, and him and my grandma split up in 8th grade, and she moved to Mesquite. And my 2 older siblings went and lived with their dad, and he was doing really good at this time, so they were getting taken care of.
Yeah.
But the youngest sibling didn't have the same dad as those 2, so you know, she bounced around a lot, and she was kind of living with me and my grandpa and my grandma, like kind of back and forth, right? And it got to the point where, like, because we're obviously like not rich or anything, like, and they have to work full time, and I'm in school, and there's just no one to like raise her, and and so probably one of the hardest moments too, that was like, I was there like when we gave her to her adopted parents, like basically gave my sister away, and that fucking like just crazy, like, and I'm 15, I'm like, yeah, like I'm good, I'm hard, bro. Nah, like. Way, way, way harder than I ever anticipated. Definitely one of the hardest moments of my life when I look back on it.
Yeah.
Because it's your sibling. Like, because I feel helpless because, I mean, you got to remember, like, I was taking care of the other 2.
Yes.
When they were, even her, you know, I'm taking care of them, right? And it just feels helpless because it's like, I've always known that I was going to be the one that changes it. Like, I'm the one that's going to set the new standard for the family. I've always known that since before I had siblings.
You're
like,
carrying the Hendrickson banner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking me. And, like, I feel that way. I've always felt that way. And so it's so hard because it's like I have to go to school. I have to play sports. Like, I have to do all this stuff the right way in order to change it in the long term. But in the short term, it makes me feel so helpless because, like, I know I can take care of her. I know I can raise her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I still feel that way, even with my older siblings. Like, with all 4 of my siblings, I still feel that way.
Yeah.
I genuinely, like, and when they have hard times, and you know, everyone handles, because they all suffered the same type of thing, just from a different lens, a different age, different perspective, and everyone handles the trauma differently. And I feel like I handle it very well. And you know, so when they're having hard times, it sucks because I wish I could help more, but I have to do these other things to make sure that the next line doesn't go through this, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was tough, and for all of my football and school and stuff, like, that's why I do it. Like, whenever they're like, why do you play football? Like, when we have those football talks, it's like, dude, because someone has to set a new standard for the family.
Yes.
Someone has to. Someone has to be the hero of the story. Someone has to be the hero of your bloodline. And if that has to be me, I'll fucking I'll do it. I'm willing to do it. And I've always felt that way, like, really, really weird. But, like, ever since I was, like, 4 years old, 5 years old, like, I've just known.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to articulate it better than that, but, like,
For sure.
You know, I love my parents, but they gave a really good blueprint on how not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I freaking did everything I could and I still am, to make sure that something like that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. That's crazy. See, and, like, you know, I've known you for your whole time playing down here, right? Like, I transferred down from Snow College, right? I didn't get here till the fall of 2021, right? That's when I first met you, and we didn't really talk. My first year, we got a lot closer this last year, which is how we found more success as a team, right? Being able to get to know each other, sit down. But I've never got to hear your true story, your true upbringing, right? I mean, and I've seen pictures of your little brother, right? He does kind of look like your son. Like, he's your brother. He looks like you, right? Just a 2-year-old version of Screech, of Dylan Hendrickson, right? And I could totally see that kind of father son type of feel because like I have a nephew who's turning 3 in January.
So fun.
Right?
Such a fun age, dude.
like I mean, and so like I have a nephew who's older than your brother, right? So that is pretty wild, right?
Yeah, and when she told me, she was like, "Yo, I'm having a baby. Like, you're finally having a baby brother." I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what? Why? What are you doing? Like, take care of yourself first, But
Yeah.
dude, once that baby was born, yeah, I'm so glad. I'm like, a lot of what I do is for that kid, man.
For sure.
And it's like the one of two things that's like makes the thought of moving up north bearable because I'll be really, really close to him. And
Cool.
that was another hard one, like, because like my baby brother and my mom were living with my grandma, and my mom was having a hard time again. And in my head, I'm like when I saw the same type of thing happening, mentally in my head, I'm like, I will fucking take him. Like, he'll be my son. Like, I'll play football. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to make sure another part of our family is like with family.
Yeah.
And my sister that's adopted, her family's awesome. That's like not a knock on them. Like, they've done such a super, super job with her and love them. But it's hard. Like that, like having a kid, like, and you can touch on it, like you're adopted too. Like,
Yeah.
And so you're kind of on the opposite version, right? Like,
Yes.
And so in my head, I'm like, I'll take this kid. Like, I'll do literally whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And, luckily my aunt up north, she has 3 boys. Well, 4 now with my brother. But that was hard too, even having him move 3-4 hours up to where I'm used to seeing him. I can see him every week. And now he's just up there. And it's like, it was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard too. And that was not even a year ago.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to move up there and be by him.
For sure.
He's so dope.
Yeah.
I love that kid. It makes me and my girlfriend excited to, eventually get to that point.
100%.
He's awesome. And it makes it so easy to have those hard times and push through when you're doing it for the better of them. And I kind of already touched on it, but that's something I struggled with a lot through high school and a lot through college is like even though all my siblings for the most part have lived in the same city, like we don't see each other.
Yeah.
Like my oldest sibling lives like with her best friend's family, and like we see them on Christmas and birthdays and stuff like that, but it's not like we just kick it all the time.
Yeah.
Like how busy we are. Like
Yes.
there's just no time. And I always felt bad because it's like, it's that middle ground of like, I have to go so hard and do all of this stuff to give our whole family a better life later on. But then at the same time, it takes away from like how much I can do in the present moment.
Yeah.
And that's something that balance is something I've always really struggled with and still am working on.
Yeah, no, it can definitely be tough, right? Trying to do that balancing act of, hey, I got to be concerned about all my siblings while balancing, getting a bachelor's and a master's degree in accounting and playing college football full time.
For sure.
So, and balancing a girlfriend, balancing a relationship as well, because that definitely requires time and dedication as well. Am I wrong?
Certainly. No, certainly.
Yeah.
But it's the best investment that you can make.
Yes. So, and again, let's talk a little bit about Miss Sierra.
Yeah.
All right.
I would love to.
All right.
She's my favorite topic.
I know you bring her up quite often. Shout out Sierra.
Yep.
You
Shout out to Shorty.
You make
Love
some
her.
of the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever tasted, and I am 300 pounds, so we're close to 300 pounds, and I've tasted a lot of chocolate chip cookies. Yours are some of the best. So shout out Sierra.
Yeah.
How long you guys been dating?
It'll be 21 months this November 21st. So it'll be 2 years in February.
Okay.
That we've been dating.
Okay. And so you guys are pretty committed to each other. Like I mean, I've only got to meet her, a handful of times, but she seems like an amazing girl, right? What kind of impact has she had on your life from a positive standpoint? Has she been able to, because going through a childhood like that, right? You got to have some stuff up here that where you're like, this is kind of a weight that I'm bearing by myself, or the cross I have to bear, in my downtime when I'm just me alone with my thoughts, right? What has she done? What kind of positive impact has she been in your life to kind of help you, jump that hurdle of your childhood and kind of that childhood trauma that you faced?
And You know, it's really crazy. I kind of touched on it earlier, I think, but for so much of my life, I didn't even realize that it was trauma.
Yeah.
And like, I always feel kind of ugh when I use that word.
Yeah, and because it comes with a stigma.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Like,
And
I don't. It's because I don't want people to. This isn't a pity party podcast.
Yeah.
Like one bit. Like
Yeah.
I think I wholeheartedly believe that my greatest advantage and blessing in life was my early childhood traumas and going through.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. I would not be who I am today without that. Like I'm so blessed and grateful for it, and everything happens for you. Nothing happens to you. I needed to go through all of that.
I'm a quote guy. You know that.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
Ed
that
Milet.
quote.
I got that from Ed Milet.
I love that quote. I'm gonna have to write that one down.
And you know, when football's getting hard, that's what I think about.
Yeah.
And when some shit goes bad, that this is happening for me. Even in the really hard, it's really easy to say that, right? But the secret to it is getting to the point where you can have faith that it's happening for you, even when like it's not going to be shown to you how it's for you immediately, right? Like it might take some months, it might take some years for you to be able to really see how that was happening for you versus to you. But with my girlfriend, it's a bit long tangent, I know. But like I didn't really even like I don't think of it as like super messed up trauma until I talk to someone else about it, and they're like, "Oh my god, like are you okay?"
That's not normal.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have a normal
seriously.
child, even though from your perspective you're like, "Hey, this
is what it is,
This is
yeah.
my everyday." Like you said, I'm going to the purgatory jailhouse to visit my parents. Just another Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
In the first grade. Oh yeah, I'm raising my siblings, dumping sugar down my throat to have some dinner, and yeah, it's just a normal Thursday night.
Yeah.
Like I mean, so yeah, but you talk to somebody who lived what you would call a normal life, 2 parents in the house, just having food on the table every evening, and they're like, "Whoa, buddy,
Yeah, seriously.
let's pump the brakes. Let's take a 30-second timeout, right?
Yeah, well,
and
when we were-
talk about this."
When we were first dating, like my mom called me, from the jail, and I answered it, and it's like, it's cool. Like I love talking to my mom. Like I
Yeah.
don't want any of this to seem like I don't like my parents. Like
Yes.
I love both of them immensely. And talking to my mom, we were chatting, cool, like it's all good, like love you, blah blah blah. And then my girlfriend's like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" Like right after, I'm like, "What do you mean I'm okay?" Like, yeah, I'm just talking to my mom. but to her, like totally different raising,
Yeah.
right? Like she's like cookie cutter nuclear family, like mom and dad, a couple brothers, like she has the family that I aspire to have
For sure.
And it's one of the reasons that she's such an awesome girlfriend and literally the most amazing person on the whole planet. And like I know that she's good when I'm having the worst day, be it football or whatever. That football stuff tests you, man. And not a lot of people can relate to that, but it really will test you on all fronts mentally.
It might be more of a mental grind than a physical one.
Yeah, might be more
Right.
of a mental. I feel like that has been harder on my head than my childhood.
For sure. Okay.
And like some of those days I come home because it's my escape for so long, right? My
Yes.
whole life, and I didn't really throw that in. Like that whole time when I'm living with my grandparents and having a hard time, like I'm going to basketball and football religiously, and a lot of those coaches are father figures. A lot of my best friends' parents treat me like their own. Like it wasn't all bad like that. Like the worst moments of it was bad like that, but the bulk of it, like I had a lot of people that had loved and cared for me like I was their own son, and that definitely
Yes.
mitigated probably a lot of the trauma and lasting effects.
There you go. Yeah.
When I come home from a hard day of football, mad. Like you see me like, well, I'm not trying to talk. I'm not fucking with
I know.
nobody. You've seen it, bro. I got home and see my girlfriend, and it's gone. It's gone. Like and she takes it all away, and she makes everything better. So loving and caring. Like she just got accepted to nursing school. The only thing
Congratulations to her, by the way.
she's awesome.
Congratulations.
The only thing she's ever wanted to be is a mom, a great mom, and a nurse. And like her personality and her as a partner reflects that greatly. Like I'm spoiled, bro. Like she's just awesome. And that's one of the reasons I'm so attracted to her and love her so much is like because I think a lot about like the family that I aspire to have someday, but very different than the one I grew up with, right? And I know she's would be the best mom on the planet, right? And so, yeah, she's just awesome. I can't say enough good things about her.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and I'm sure she's going to be a hell of a mom and a hell of a nurse as well.
For sure.
I mean, because now she's going to have you in her corner as she goes to school, starts that grind, right? And you're going to be working the
We're gonna
accounting
flip a
side of
little bit.
things. Yep. So it'll be good.
It's just there's no hesitation with her. If she even thinks that I might need something, it's done and it's handled.
Wow.
If she even thinks that there's something that might make me feel a little better, it's handled. Like I said, I can't say enough good things about her. Like I don't know, like that might be like I don't know how I feel about God. I'm still working on that too. But it could be that she could be God's like, hey, you did an awesome job going through all that shit when you were a kid. Boom. Here's this top tier human being to help you go the rest of the way.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about her.
Yeah. So let's lean into that for a second. We're not going to talk religion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We don't need to talk specific religions, like, but talk to me about your stance on God and a higher power, just from a standpoint of, I believe in God, right? I'm part of a religion.
Sure.
Like I fall into that category where, when times get really bad, really hard, really dark, I know where to turn.
Sure.
Right. Where it's, get on my knees and pray.
Sure.
Right. Like that's something I believe in, something I have faith in.
Sure.
Right. What is that for you when it comes to, something, life is bringing you down, and you've had life bring you down to your knees.
Yep.
Right. And just
Figuratively.
Yes. Figuratively. And just, you've been, battle worn and battle tested, and things aren't going your way, and football is going terrible, and all this is happening, right? Like, what is Sierra that for you when it comes to just being able to have that one thing that you just trust and know, or do you believe in a higher power that you can turn to and be like, okay, this is where I find comfort and solace and have something to lean on that's not sports, that's not another human being.
Because for a long time it was sports.
Yes.
And recently, since we've been dating, I would say that she is one of those things for me. Certainly, she keeps me grounded. She holds me down. But it's been myself, and maybe that's a terrible thing to say and feel, but it's been me. I've always got me, and I have all the reasons not to be, but I've always just been super high confidence, high self-esteem. Like, that's just how I am, man. And when things got tough, like, I fucking handled it. Like, period. Like, and that's one of the reasons why I've always had a hard time with religion, because in those really, really hard times where I'm taking care of 3 kids and there's no adult for 2 days, 3 days, and nobody's saving me like I saved us, and so I've always had a hard time with prayer. I've always had a really hard time with that, and especially when I was a kid, like, it made me feel like a bitch. And I know that's probably terrible. Like, most people are going to hear that and think, what a piece of shit human being.
Well, we just had 40 people turn this podcast off.
but that's how I felt, man. Like, I was like, no one's coming to save me. Like, if someone's going to change, like, I'm going to change it. Like, I'm going to be the hero of my story, right? And to some degree, I feel that way still. And I do believe in being spiritual and being in tune with yourself. And I do very much believe in being grateful and having an attitude of gratitude. And I think a lot of those thoughts definitely have crossover with prayer and religion, right? Like when you pray, a lot of times you're saying what you're thankful for, bless this food, may it nourish our bodies, like, so thankful for this. Please bless all these people. We're so grateful to have them in our lives, right? And you say that, and it goes to your higher power, right? That's not a lot different from me being like, I'm so grateful I get to be on this podcast with you right now. I'm so grateful I'm friends with Max Christensen. He's a freaking awesome guy. So grateful I get to play football in my hometown and have my parents and my grandparents come and my girlfriend be here. Like, so I definitely believe in an attitude of gratitude. And I think, there's a lot of crossover there with the prayer stuff. And I'm still on that journey. I know I'm still on that journey. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'll never ever be religious in my whole life. A lot of it, I don't like how it's such a group thing. Like, I think that relationship should be with you and whatever your higher power is. I'm still working on that. And I know there's some work to do, because, like, the one thing on this whole planet and universe that I'm afraid of is death. Like, it makes me crazy. Like, I don't get anxiety, like, at all. I'm not, I don't struggle mentally, like, almost not very much to today's standards. But that's the one thing that freaks me out. Like, I do not like thinking about growing old and dying, none of that, because I love life. I love being here. And that I haven't found comfort in that yet. Yeah. And, that's a journey for me to go on. I do want to read the Bible eventually. Like, these are stuff that are, like, on my post-football career bucket list a
aspirations,
little bit, Like, I want to learn, and I'll go down that journey for myself, and kind of see where it takes me. But that's kind of my quick thoughts on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, hey, we all have our own journey to go on in life, right? Or even again, I've been part of the same religion since I was 8 years old, right? In the LDS church.
Yep. And I was baptized in that when I was 8.
Okay. Yeah. And it took me until I was 18 until I actually said, you know what? I think I might
really like
I
this.
think I might believe what everybody's going to tell me for the last 10 years, for the last decade, right? So yeah, no, I definitely get that. We all go on our journeys, no matter where we fall when it comes to religion, when it comes to believing in things like that. So yeah, no, it's just about that journey. We were on the bus the other day, driving to a game, and Big Loney, right? Coach Loney, our D-line coach, was talking to us about our biggest fears, right? And I said heights, or I hate heights. And again, you said, what did you say? You said,
losing my teeth. I get my teeth knocked out.
Because you literally said, yeah, like my biggest fear is getting my teeth knocked out. Oh, and dying.
Those are the two.
Just like, I was like, wait. So you went from I fear having dentures to no longer being on this planet. I mean,
like when I was younger, I hated losing my teeth. Like when I got a loose tooth, it wasn't like, yeah, tooth fairy. It was like, fuck, like I hate this so much. Like I didn't lose all my baby teeth till I was like a 7th grader.
Wow.
Yeah, I hated it so much. So the thought of me like falling on the concrete and getting my teeth bashed out, terrible.
Yeah.
Hate that.
Yeah. Do you play the mouth guard when we play football?
Most of the time, yeah.
Okay.
Most of the time. Because one of our teammates, Michael Moten, cut his tongue in half in high school. Not wearing one. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, we'll probably put that in.
Gotcha.
It just depends. For the most part, I do, though.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago down at Stephen F. Austin, when we got that big win down there, I about bit my tongue off.
Yeah.
And because I don't play with a mouth guard anymore. And I played with a mouth guard for the rest of that game, though, because that freaking hurt.
Yeah. So maybe if I know that it's passed, maybe I won't put it in.
Yeah.
But if it's any type of rundown, my mouthpiece is in.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. All right. Let's wrap this up here. All right. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on the podcast. I know Sierra's waiting at home, probably with chocolate chip cookies. Okay. I know you got a lot of things you got to do. But let's ask you the question of the show. Okay. You know it's coming. You know what it is. All right. This is episode 5 now. All right. We're starting to get things rolling.
Best
here.
episode yet.
on Till the Wheels Fall Off. So Screech, what is one thing in life outside of family? And we're gonna grandfather in Sierra in this instance because she's pretty much family for you. Okay, so outside of family and Sierra, all right, what is one thing in life you feel like you can ride with or roll with till the wheels fall off? Basically, what is one thing in life that you've gone through all the shit with your childhood, right? And for some reason, you still wake up and live a productive life every single day, right? So what is your biggest motivation to do that and continue to do that outside of family?
So what I can roll with till the wheels fall off and the motivation are two different answers.
Okay.
So I'm what I can roll with till the wheels fall off forever. He asked me this a few weeks ago to prepare for this.
Yes.
It's the only thing he told me to prepare for. And the first thing that I thought of, and when I tried to think of something better throughout the weeks, it was always the same answer as myself. I can always count on myself. Yeah, I know and maybe that's not quite the answer you're looking for.
No, hey, I'm not looking for an answer. I want an answer you can share with everybody else to try and motivate them.
But it's me.
Yeah,
and I felt that, like I said, I felt that way since I was a kid. And a lot of that stuff was hard, but it was like, dude, playing the victim, the biggest disease on the planet.
I agree.
Trying to feel sorry for yourself.
I agree with that.
Your outcome, like wherever you're at in life. Whether you love it or hate it, it's 100% your fault. Whether you love it or you hate it, 100% your fault. And there's no way to get better as a person until you can reconcile that with yourself. And it's hard. It's hard to look in the mirror and be like, dang, like the reason I've only started three or four games in my last 2 years of football is me, right? It's real easy to shift the blame. But yeah, it's all on you. It's all on me. One of my favorite quotes, it's all on you, but it's not about you.
I like that one too. Right? Yeah.
Like like for you playing football in the trenches, like it's all on the D line. It's all on you to freaking stuff that double team. It's all on you to get that win. But it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's not for you.
For sure.
It's for the team. It's for the backers behind us.
Yep.
Right. And so you take that approach to life, it'll go far. Like, yeah, I've done some cool stuff. You know, I have my degrees. I've done some cool stuff football wise. I have a business. It's going good, but all that stuff is on me, but it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about setting that new standard of living for my family and for my future family, and really showing, because I'm the oldest of all the cousins too.
Okay.
So I have a bunch of little cousins too.
Yeah.
Kind of that tweener. Like, I'm not as old as all my aunts and uncles, but I'm way older than all my cousins. Right.
Yes.
So
And your siblings too.
and my siblings.
Yeah.
And so it's like, dude, someone has to show them how to do it. Someone has to show them that with all the shit, like, you can still get out and do some cool, awesome stuff and serve the community and just be an awesome person.
Yeah. I love that answer. And it's something that I feel like everybody can lean on. At the very end of the day, it's up to you, right? One thing my dad always shared with me and my siblings growing up is, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. My grandpa used to say, you miss every shot you don't take.
Yes.
So when I played basketball, I shot that shot.
Oh my gosh. You just jacking them up, dude.
I was letting them rip.
30 footers.
But yeah, you have to, it's all on you. 100%
Yeah.
responsibility for your outcomes and for
Yes.
your own happiness. And if you want to learn more about that, read The Success Principles by Jack Canfield.
Okay.
Life-changing book. I read it, right at the new year of 2018 when I was having a really hard time with some other areas of my life, like ex-girlfriend and football not going the way I wanted it to. Being
Yeah.
that really crappy player coming here. And that book was a huge shift for me.
Awesome.
One of the things that definitely, especially like the first 20 principles of the book just changed my life.
Yeah.
For sure. It put all that stuff that we've talked about kind of like into words. Like,
Yes.
can't expect the same outcome doing the same thing that my parents did, so I had to do something different.
Yeah.
It just kind of puts that book puts that into words, into formula, and it's an awesome book.
Yeah. Well, Screech, Dylan Hendrickson, thank you so much for taking time to join the podcast tonight. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your words of motivation. Again, your accounting company. All right.
Yep.
Do you want to shout that out real quick and tell people where they can find you if they're looking for any sort of accounting help?
Yeah, so Sledge Accounting, if you have a business of your own, so we don't do one-off tax returns for individuals. If you have a business and you need some help with the bookkeeping, tax prep, all that type of stuff, hit us up. It's just sledgeaccounting.com, www.sledgeaccounting.com. You can find me on Twitter at Dylan Hendrickson or Screech, based accountant, Instagram, Screech, YouTube, Sledge Accounting, just all of them. Yeah, go give us a follow.
Awesome.
Yep.
Dude, that's
Love
so
it.
cool. So again, thank you, Screech. And thank you guys again for always tuning in, all your support, all your love, for listening to these guys' stories, right? There's so many people out there who have been through so much, who can teach us all how to get through stuff. And I know you guys are going through a lot too. So keep on just keeping on, right? Keep on challenging yourself, lean on yourself, as Screech talked about, and keep on tuning in, because we're going to keep sharing stories like this every single time we drop an episode. Thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Let's just ride till the wheels fall off.
Till the wheels fall off. We gon' ride till the wheels fall off. Until the wheels fall off.
This has been another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off, hosted by Max Christensen III. Join us next time to hear more stories of life and passion, along with words of wisdom we can all learn from.